Hi, everyone. Thank you for tuning into today's webinar. Today, we're joined by the founder of Box of Smiles, Kayley Simon. Thank you for being here today, Kayley. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm great.
That's great. So before we talk about Box of Smiles and how you kind of got started, can you talk a little bit more about yourself for those who may not know you?
My name is Kayley Simon. I'm 16 years old. I started Box with Smiles in 2018, and it's been a yearly occurrence ever since then. And it stemmed from my passion for kind of helping people out.
Yeah, that's
Great.
awesome.
That's great. Yeah. What inspired you to start Box of Smiles?
It started from a conversation I had in the car with my mom. We both really love the holiday season, and we have a nickname for her in my family. We call her Mrs. Claus because she just goes all out every year. And she kind of mentioned, she was like, "Yeah, well, Kaylee, there are some little kids who don't get gifts like you do." And that kind of just like hurt me. So I kind of wanted to do something about it. So rather than doing Secret Santa that year in school, I asked my teacher if we could use that money that we were going to spend on our classmates and donate it to the emergency hostel. And she was very like excited to do that. So she agreed right away. And that's just kind of how it started.
That's awesome, Kaylee. Can you talk a little bit about the work that you do at Box of Smiles?
Box of Smiles is an initiative to give Christmas gifts to the less fortunate. And my job essentially is to get all the donations, whether it be monetary or whether it be actual gifts. And I figure out which hostel I'm going to do. And one year we also donated to the victims of Hurricane Dorian. So basically, I just coordinate all of that. And I also, of course, get a lot of help from friends and family and other people.
Why did you decide to name your charity Box of Smiles?
Although recently I've been using a lot of bags, in the beginning, the first year of Box of Smiles, we actually used shoe boxes. And even though it was probably our smallest operation, it also might have to be my favorite because it was incredibly like personalized. Every student wrote a little note inside the box, and it was definitely more a sentimental year. And Box of Smiles comes from the shoe boxes that we used in the first year.
All right, Kaylee, thank you. So, this year, Box of Smiles held a winter dance in order to raise money. Can you tell us a little bit about that, what that stemmed from, and how successful it was in comparison to other years?
Okay, so I actually had this idea in the previous year, which would have been 2021. I wasn't able to do it because it was a little too last minute, but this year I was really excited to have a dance. And it was a winter masquerade ball with 100% of proceeds going to Box of Smiles. And the idea just kind of came from the fact that I really wanted to attend a dance like that. So I'm pretty sure, friends and students that they would have enjoyed it too. And I did that because last year I wanted to focus mostly on monetary donations rather than physical donations for like an easier handoff. And it was very successful in money. And we bought the gifts ourselves and distributed them to charities.
That's great. How do you see Box of Smiles growing in the future?
I definitely talked about this with my mom, I think, but it's a once a year operation. And I think it would be a great idea to expand. And we had some ideas of whether or not we can donate during like maybe different holidays or a different time. But the idea that's most appealing to me is during the beginning of the school year, because one of the orphanages that I was in contact with for last year's operation said that they do have a fair amount of toys, but the children do need, some more school supplies and educational things. So that's what we focused our buying on this year. So to do something for the next year, we were thinking that we could do something before school starts, maybe in August or in September, and give away like backpacks and school supplies and stuff like that.
That's amazing, Kaylee. So, as you are now a junior and you are going to be a senior next year, Have you put any thought into who's going to lead Box of Smiles when you go off to college and what'll happen to it?
I've put a lot of thought into that because I definitely would not want it to end once I go off to college. I definitely think that most like Christmas breaks whilst I'm in college, I will be coming here anyways. So I'm thinking of continuing it while I'm in college, but having someone who's still here to kind of like do a lot of it whilst I'm away on behalf of me. But it's just a matter of who it might be. It could be my brother who's still at school, or maybe a student at Windsor who would want to take over the operations on behalf of me. But it's all in the works. Not sure yet.
All right.
Yeah, that sounds great. I wanted to ask, do you see kind of Box of Smiles growing into any other Bahamian islands or just staying on New Providence for now?
Last year, I did have an offer to expand it to another family island. We weren't able to follow through with that, but it was definitely an experience that I would have wanted to have. We just weren't able to do it. So this year, I'm definitely planning on expanding it to other family islands, especially because a lot of orphanages in Nassau, they have people that donate there as well. And I would imagine that it would be less common on the family islands.
Yeah, that sounds great. So, for anyone who's interested in supporting Box of Smiles, what are the best ways to learn more and start getting involved?
Box of Smiles has an Instagram, and our Instagram handle is Box of Smiles 2021. You can contact me directly through there. You can also I will be sharing more like contact information through the Instagram. So I feel like the Instagram is like the main way to reach me. And monetary donations can be accepted throughout the entire year. So I feel like monetary donations are the best way to donate to Box of Smiles. And we're also currently in the works of getting an account for Box of Smiles. That way people can also donate directly through there.
All right, Kaylee. Well, on behalf of the C Strong team, we'd like to thank you so much for taking time to come and record this webinar with us and help us just spread the word about Box of Smiles and get people thinking about charities like this one so that in the future they can hopefully help on those holiday seasons.